January 27, 2025, marked 80 years since the liberation of Auschwitz-Birkenau. This date stands as a stark reminder of the horrors inflicted during the Holocaust. It is a day for remembrance, reflection, and a renewed commitment to fighting intolerance. This year's commemoration was particularly poignant. The dwindling number of survivors, now mostly in their 80s and 90s, gathered at the site of unimaginable atrocities. They came to share their stories, ensuring that the world never forgets. The event at Auschwitz-Birkenau was attended by dignitaries from around the world. King Charles of England, French President Emmanuel Macron, and German leaders were among those present. Notably absent was a Russian delegation, uninvited due to the ongoing war in Ukraine. However, the focus remained on the survivors. In a break from tradition, there were no political speeches. The organizers understood that the day belonged to those who had endured the horrors of Auschwitz. The testimonies of survivors took center stage, their words echoing through the solemn silence. These first-hand accounts served as powerful reminders of the human cost of hatred and prejudice. The anniversary serves as a stark reminder of the importance of remembrance. As time passes, it becomes even more critical to keep the memory of the Holocaust alive. The stories of the survivors must be heard and understood by future generations. Only through education and awareness can we hope to prevent such atrocities from happening again. The testimonies delivered at the 80th anniversary were both heartbreaking and inspiring. Each survivor carried with them the weight of unimaginable suffering, yet they also demonstrated incredible resilience and a commitment to sharing their stories. Yona Lax, a 94-year-old survivor of Mengele's horrific experiments, spoke with quiet strength. Arriving at Auschwitz in 1944 with her sisters from the Lodz ghetto, Lax endured unimaginable horrors, yet she emerged from the experience with a powerful message: every person has an inherent right to life. Liliana Segre, Italy's most prominent survivor, shared her story from Rome. Segre, who survived the brutal death march to Malchow, continues to be a target of anti-Semitism. Even now she requires police protection. Her experience underscores the sad reality that prejudice and hate persist. Teresa Regula, 96, recounted the pain of being shaved upon arrival at Auschwitz at just 16 years old. Regula, who contracted multiple illnesses during her time in the camp, suppressed the traumatic memories for decades. Her story highlights the long-lasting impact of trauma and the importance of finding a path to healing. Janina Iwanska, a 94-year-old Polish Catholic, was sent to Auschwitz in 1944. She risked her own life to care for children in the camp and was later evacuated to Ravensbrück. Iwanska expressed deep concern about the future, particularly given the growing divisions in society today. Her words serve as a stark warning. We must guard against the forces of hatred and division that threaten to tear us apart. To fully comprehend the significance of the 80th anniversary, it is essential to understand the historical context of Auschwitz. Established by the Nazi regime, Auschwitz-Birkenau was not merely a concentration camp, it was a complex designed for mass extermination. Over 1.1 million people, the vast majority of them Jews, were systematically murdered within its walls. The methods used were horrific. Gas chambers disguised as showers, crematoria working overtime to dispose of bodies, and unspeakable medical experiments conducted on unwilling subjects. Auschwitz was a product of a regime consumed by hatred and fueled by a perverse ideology that saw Jews and other minorities as threats to be eliminated. The camp's liberation by Soviet troops on January 27, 1945, revealed the full extent of the horrors that had taken place. The images of skeletal survivors and piles of corpses shocked the world, exposing the depths of Nazi barbarity. Yet, even as we remember the victims and condemn the perpetrators, it is crucial to acknowledge that Auschwitz was not an isolated incident. It was the culmination of a long history of anti-Semitism and intolerance in Europe. The Holocaust was the result of a gradual erosion of human rights, fueled by propaganda and apathy. The world stood by as Jews were stripped of their rights, their businesses boycotted, and their synagogues burned. By the time the first trains arrived at Auschwitz, the stage had already been set for genocide. 80 years after the liberation of Auschwitz, the fight against intolerance and hate is far from over. Anti-Semitism, racism, and other forms of discrimination continue to plague our world. Holocaust denial, fueled by misinformation and deliberate distortion, remains a persistent threat. That is why the work of Holocaust education is more critical now than ever before. We must ensure that future generations understand the dangers of prejudice and indifference. Teaching about the Holocaust is not just about recounting historical facts. It is about instilling empathy, promoting critical thinking, and inspiring action against injustice. It is about empowering young people to recognize and challenge hate in all its forms. Museums like Auschwitz-Birkenau play a vital role in this endeavor. They serve as powerful reminders of the human cost of hatred, offering visitors a tangible connection to the past. Preserving the physical sites of Nazi atrocities is essential, but so too is the need to adapt to the digital age. Technology can play a vital role in Holocaust education, reaching new audiences through online archives, virtual reality experiences, and interactive exhibits. It can help to bridge the gap between generations, ensuring that the lessons of the Holocaust are not forgotten. The 80th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz is a time for somber reflection, but also for renewed resolve. We must honor the memory of the victims by fighting for a more just and compassionate world. We owe it to the survivors, to future generations, and to ourselves to never forget the horrors of the Holocaust and to work tirelessly to prevent history from repeating itself. Let us remember their stories, learn from their resilience, and commit ourselves to building a future free from hatred and intolerance.